Brad here again. What we're going to do is we got lucky and we get to do a 61 Cruise-O-Matic. This is out of a 61 Ford Thunderbird. So we'll go through this, take it apart, show you how to rebuild it, and go from there. I hope you enjoy this. This is one of the old timers we don't get very much, or I don't get to rebuild very much, so this will be fun. Hope you enjoy it. Alright, we got our 61 Cruise-O-Matic here. We're going to get it apart, kind of show you some things to watch when you go through them. It's lucky to get one. We don't see them, or I should say I don't see them that often. I've maybe built 10 of these in the last 30 years. You just don't see a lot of them. So let's get it apart and we'll go from there. Get the tail housing seal off. We've got this little breather on the side. We'll get that off here. Probably could have took the bell housing off first, but it made this a little easier. Hindsight's always 20/20, isn't it? So, if you're not familiar, if you ever got a tranny and you're not familiar with how it comes apart, you can probably find a lot of it on YouTube or something. Make sure you look at somebody who knows what they're doing, not just a moron. Got a modulator on this side, and I believe these have pins. Modulator pin. Don't lose that. We'll get a new modulator, but I'm going to keep it to match it up to make sure. Right inside there is your modulator valve, which, that's right. This one's part of the valve body. Kind of forget that when you don't do that many of these. I'll get the bell housing off. Tail housing up. Kind of odd to have to go back to standard. That was 5/8. That's odd, these are 15s. My 9/16 won't fit on it. There is an access cover here for the governor. Carefully break it loose. Wow. There we go. Oh, great. Somebody glued it together with a gasket maker and gasket, so this will be fun to clean up. So we'll just keep on getting it apart. little rubber seal and a spiral snap ring. Not really sure what this is for. I haven't come across one. Maybe somebody older than me that knows about that could tell me what that is. I believe this is the seal for the drive line, so when it's on, the drive line seals it, but maybe that's just a spring to keep it in place. Alright, snap ring. Remove the governor, or the speedometer gear. Speedometer. Just have a little ball. Hold it steady. With a check ball. Oh, that is another basket. Okay. Now it's got governor feed tubes. Mechanism you need to check, just like any of them. If they have rings, see if it's all worn out and has grooves in here. If it does, you got to replace this. But this feels really good. So we got lucky there. Put that in there, and then we'll get the governor off. And after this, we'll pull it over and pull the pan off it. Now this is going to have a ball on it too. Some of these old ones just don't like coming off very easy. Well, it's better to be tight like this than loose, because if it's loose, it's not going to properly shift because it will be leaking. Governor. I will take this apart later. And again, there's another ball to hold it in place. Alright, we can roll this over. We get the valve body apart. Or the valve body off. The guy says he drove this and it worked fine, but he's just kind of going through it and doing one last overhaul. I guess his grandfather left it to him, so we'll see if there's any damage inside. The last one I did, somebody said it was good. It was pretty messy up. One thing about these old transmitters, they'll work even when they're not supposed to work. Shift behind and work. They'll take it apart and come apart in little pieces, and it's like, wow, I should have heard that. You don't. Don't be last back in the day. Everything's going on. Well, not too much in the bottom of the pan. So we're not too bad there. We'll stuff off later. Now on the bottom of it, you're going to have this retainer that holds the filter down. You just pop this up on this side, and it's on the hook. The hook's on the other side. Okay, and then your filter can come off. Most of the time, these are screens. And you can clean them out really good instead of replacing it, because the one you get is going to be felt, and these are a lot better. Now, this pipe comes right out. I'll turn this around. See, you take this front valve body off, assembly off. Wow, somebody's really beating it up. Somebody hit it with a hammer or something to get the pipe on. To get to the bolts to this, there's one here and there's one under these springs. So you have to take this off. Be very careful because this has got quite a bit of pressure behind it. Top spring and bottom. Inside the top spring, you're going to have this little hole or little tube. and a centering thing for the spring in the bottom one. Remove both valves. You can't get these screwed up because they are different sizes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get these pipes out. And somebody really had a hard time with these last time. We'll do a little bit better job. Go straight up with this one. Rotate it. It pulls right out. Alright, now I didn't get any small sockets. I need a small socket. 7/8 socket. 7/16 socket. That off. That is the front valve body. I'll show you how to go through that later. If you notice, there's a valve body here and the servo, front band servo and rear band servo. We will take off, loosen up the valve body and this servo to get it off. If you try to take this valve body off without undoing this, you'll end up bending these pipes because you can't pick it up out of the way enough to get it off without destroying the pipe. So undo that one, and then get this off. Now they'll both pick up right out of there. As you heard, I dropped my little piece for the band strap. I will show you how to go through the valve bodies and servos here in a little bit. Some of these servos are really tricky, especially the rear one, how you have to get it off. You see there's a pipe here. Let's see if we can carefully go straight up. Never really force anything out or in when you're rebuilding a transmission, because they should fit snug, but you shouldn't have to beat the crap out of it to get it in or out. Alright, nope. Rear. You notice this one is different. It's got a little pin in it which holds the center support on. So you got to make sure you put it back in the right one. And that's just this whole assembly comes up. I'll show you how to take this apart here in a little bit. And the strut for the rear one, the rear band. Got two struts there now. You take the pump off. Now when you take this tranny apart, everything comes out the back side of it. The pump just bolts to the front. Everything goes out the back. I should say the pump comes off the front, because a lot of these have dual pumps, one up front and one in the back. So, going on. There's a couple of screws, or a screw. Wow. Some of it got that a little tight. Wow. That was a little tight. It didn't need to be that tight. Small screw to hold the plate on. Okay. Check your pump like any other pump. This pump is good. Check the pump gears. Note which way they go in. You notice these are slanted. They are not straight up and down. They are slanted gears. So if they were bad, you had to replace them. Make sure you replace them with the same style of gear. It looks like we are in really good shape. All right. Now we'll turn this around and we'll get the back of it out. Now, you notice I took a pipe out here. This one for the filter, right? Well, right over here, there's another hole. And if you don't get this pipe out, you can't even see. All you'll do is bend it, try to pry it out, and you won't be able to understand why this back plate doesn't come off. That's the reason. So you make sure you get your pipe out. Now on the back of it, you need to take the plate off. This is for the rear pump. And they are all straight blade screwdrivers. So hopefully nobody's screwed. Wow. These are just way too tight. That is ridiculous. They should never be that tight. You should be able to get them off with a screwdriver. That is just, somebody put them on way too tight. Better yet, let's get the impact driver, not put it on the gun, so there'll be minimal damage that way. Hopefully, no damage. That's better. And we'll take the plate off. Plate off. Inspect that. You can see there's gears here. I'm going to put this back together to show you. Now if you see, you've got the pump right here. Okay, carefully take this out. Should have left it out, huh? But I wanted to show you what this is, what it was like. Okay, your rear gear, exactly like a front pump, you want to inspect these to make sure that everything's okay. They're not worn out. They look really good. Look for identification marks. See the notch? Notch faces out. Okay. Now on this is a woodwoof key or a cotter key, or yeah, woodwoof key. Hold that in space. Oh, if you look at it, hopefully you can see that. We're gonna have to get another one. It's all worn out. So we'll have to do another one there. All right, we'll move the camera back and get this back in and take it apart the rest of the way. I've changed positions of the camera a little bit. Hopefully it's a little bit better than you can see. Let's see if we can get this off. Can't get anything behind it. Use something like this. Lightning tap. Boy, they really glued this on. Shouldn't be that hard to get off. There's that. Okay. See they glued the gaskets on both sides. It's just not going to be fun to take apart. Now, ring. You notice there's no race on this side. They use the planet as a race. Now, pull this out, the outlet. Inspect your first washer. It looks like it's brand new almost, so excellent there. There's different types of planets. This one has a sprag in it. There's some older ones. I'm doing a 55 T-bird on that does not have this in it. Like any other planet, you want to inspect each gear to make sure there's no wear, no movement. We're looking really good. Bearing, there is no races. The races are the planet and the sun gear. Alright, it might want to have to come with everything. Now these usually have to come up through the top, so I'm going to have to take some stuff out. There are two more bolts that hold the center support in. Should have took them out before. When it's up top, it's easier. One there. And of course one on this side. When you're not used to these, you forget stuff all the time. No big deal. I don't like that. This rod, this sun gear here should come right out. It's not. Usually the metal rings comes apart, and it just makes it tough to get apart. It opens up, and what sucks is you have to try to break it without breaking it, damaging anything, and it won't work. Well, give me a minute. I'm going to see if I can get this apart. There's one out. There's the other one out. Alright. Now, it sucks I had to break them. The two rings that go here were holding it in. But we got the shaft out. Thrust washer. Our shaft looks like it's in really good shape. See if I can put some of this back in so I can get the band out. Out before these guns out. Just like that. Band looks like it's in really good shape. Now we can get it out. There's the center support I told you. Now some of these do this and some of them don't, but inside this drum you got the little bearings, or little roller bearings. Once in a while, sometimes these things are sealed and sometimes they are not, so you just have to watch it. If they're not encapsulated, you have to take them all out and pack them back in. So we'll make sure we get all those out. We don't want to lose any. Don't ever pick them up with a magnet and leave them on the magnet. outward bend. Now this one's got a little wear on it. It's a little burnt. We'll see if we can scuff it up, or we'll see if we can find another one. And we've got a thrust washer. Alright, there's the case. We have our two drums. Oh, there's a little roller. There's another roller. Okay. Looks like we're doing good. Oh, that's odd. Must have got the wrong kit. It's got still, clutch, till the very end, then it's got a still against that. They might have put the wrong clutch kit in it. Keep this together. We'll take this apart later. You want to look inside. Make sure the ceiling rig grooves haven't made any big grooves in here. Take the input drum apart. I like to keep everything together because I'm not that familiar with these. First washer there. Start seeing there's a little bit of wear because this one's new and these are old or worn out, or two different kits. I see some thick stills and thin stills here. I wonder if they got them screwed up. You want to check your bevel spring here to make sure it's not broken. If it is broken, you need to replace this. That's not too bad. That's in good shape, really. I'm going to quickly do the servos. Alright, now on this one, you can't get this, it'll spin, but it's really hard to get out. What there is a little valve in the back. If you push it, that allows air to get in the back of there, and that slides right out. It's held in by suction, so just push the little button. I don't think I would try to get this out, this little seal here. I'll look at it once I get it cleaned up, but that's fairly simple. I would look here for marks. It looks like this is almost brand new, so we're good there. We'll get that in the washer. The same thing with this one. After I've taken the screw out, what it does is some of it's pretty tough to get out, but it's got a little cap on top with the O-ring, and inside there's a lip. That's why it won't pull all the way through. So all you got to do is get these apart, take the screw out of it, and pull these apart. Check for wear marks like you would on any other one. And what I would do, because I hate losing stuff, I would put the screws in the washer right back in the end of this and tighten it down. That way you don't lose any of the parts, because the worst thing is losing something and not being able to find something to replace it. So now we'll go on to the drums. Alright, now with this drum, with the Ford drum, this is the one that's first inside the case. It's got a bevel spring. What I want to do is get that out. Sometimes they can be really tricky. Oh, sometimes they're a pain. This one's going to come out pretty good, looks like. Check your spring. You want to make sure it's not broken, of course. Replace it if you need to. There is a little ring, wear ring, so it doesn't wear into the aluminum piston. It pushes on this. Make sure that's not broken or damaged. And then sometimes it's kind of hard to get these out. What I do is I usually turn them over and put a little air in the apply hole, and it blows the piston right out. That way you don't damage anything. Remove. There's a little seal in here. Hopefully you can see that from where I am. There's a little O-ring in here. And same on the outside of the piston. Check your piston for damage, an abnormal wear on the inside of your piston here. If it's got a lip on it somewhere, like it's been riding crooked, you're going to have to replace your piston. Now, well, you don't do a lot of these, so you're not familiar with them. What I usually do is the one snap ring that's holding the bottom spring in, I put it back inside the drum, so I know that's the one that goes there. That way I don't get a weaker one on top of it, which could pop out. It's just a lot easier that way. If you want to, you can even take the one that holds the clutch ring for this one and put that in top, so you know which snap ring goes where. It's just a lot easier to do it that way, and everything's kept in the same order, because a lot of the transmissions, they do the thickness, your end plate with your snap ring, so it's better to leave the ones back in there. Alright, now you've got your what I would call a direct drum. This is the ones where the needle bearings came out of here. That's pretty common. I've only had one that these bearings didn't come out. Other than that, they usually fall out every time. So what we'll do is we'll get the snap ring off of this. Put this in your press, whatever you've got. This has pretty good sized springs, so make sure you got enough room to go up quite a ways. Take that out. Now you got your snap ring. Make sure your little retainer here isn't damaged. I've seen these bent before. We're looking good there. I've got your center snap ring. If you can't get this out, this one's a little harder to get to the air hole. It's deeper inside the drum. You can put your shaft back in it. That's the feed hole for it. I believe it's this hole back here. We will check. It's the smaller hole. So hopefully you'll have enough pressure just to pop it out. A lot easier than trying to fight it or slamming it on the ground. Some of these older ones, if you slam it on your bench, I've seen the older ones break when you do that, crack, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. And I'm a little weird. For these older ones that don't do a lot, I put that snap ring back in there. And again, like I said, this way it just makes it a lot easier. You're not questioning yourself which snap ring goes where. There is one here, and I forgot to take this one on the inside, just like the other drum, out right there. So now that's ready to go in the wash. I've got just about everything ready to go in the wash. All I got to do is clean up the gaskets. Like I said, somebody got happy with glue and glued all the gaskets on. But I'm going to hurry and show you how to take the manual leakage out and the kick down lever. You should do this every time we replace the seals. The last thing you want to do is not do this, and your tranny comes back dripping there, because this is really hard to do in the vehicle. It'd be easier to pull the tranny back and take it back apart. So you're here, let's do it now. I'll kind of go through how to get this apart so you can do it right and you can get it back together. You've got your little lever for your kick down, and you've got your manual, and you've got what there is a check ball here, or a big ball, and a large spring there for your detent for your rooster comb. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this one off first. One thing you don't want to do is use it to pry on anything. You don't want to pry this down and push this lever against that and try to break it off, because you will bend these. They are temperamental. You don't want to take a hammer and smack it if it is that hard. What I do is carefully take this and just a little bit, just enough to get it loose, and you can take it off. Sometimes you have to take them all the way out with a wrench. Sometimes. Wow. All right, we'll get that off. That just doesn't want to.
come off very easy. None of them do. Every time I do one, I have to fight it. Take the snap or the lock washer off. Alright. Don't hit this with a hammer if you're having a hard time getting it off. What I do is take a pair of pliers and slowly wiggle it back and forth, and you will get it right off. Okay? Get that in there. If you want, you can put it back on the end of that. I always put everything back on here. It just kind of helps. Now, if you can see, hopefully you can, there is a small little, on this one it's got an R clip. On a lot of them they got cotter pins. Take this little clip off, pulls right out, and you want to push this little linkage out of your rooster comb. What I'll do is I will put this clip back in this rod. You don't need to take this off now. This is all pretty easy. It's self-contained. There's no seals. There's nothing you have to do on that. So I'm just going to leave that alone. Now you got your ball and a pretty large spring right here. What I do, so you don't lose anything, is I put a rag over the ball and everything, and pop it past. You can hear it come out. Oh, this one's a little different. Doesn't have a ball. It's got a rounded stud. We'll put that in the small parts basket, and then take a pick and take the spring out. Now we can use our wrench, and I believe it's that one. Wow, this one's tough. Again, we'll see if we can get it loose. Shouldn't do that. You get carpal tunnel if you do that. But sometimes our old habits are hard to break. I would not recommend putting a gun on this. If you could even get a gun inside. Remember, this is a tube. There we go. This is a tube that this bolt is on, so you can break that, the manual lever. So be very, very careful. As I said, don't ever hammer with this. These will break off the end of that, and you'll be in Hurt City trying to find the one again, or trying to get it welded back on, because it's tough. Take this off if I can. Alright. There's the rooster comb. And your lever. Again, just to be safe, I'll put it there. There's the seal for your kick down lever. Take that out. Put that in the washer. And then take your seal remover, pop the seal out, and then get it in the wash. But then I've got some gaskets to clean up, so I'll do that. Oh, we almost forgot. Need to put our little R clip back on our rod here, so we don't lose it. And that's a good way to do that. Now I'll get my case cleaned up and get everything in the wash, and then we'll go from there. Next thing's the valve body. Only use these kind of pads when you're buffing on any kind of thing. Do not use cookies. Oatmeal cookies, they suck. They'll do more damage than anything. Always take a stone when you're done. You do have a flat stone, right? Take a flat stone. Try to get all the burrs and stuff, and bits of gasket you can't get off with the there with the drag rounded. You want to make sure everything's flat and smooth. The valve body's next, and what we're going to do, there's two of them. If you remember right, we took the two valves out of this one to get to the bolts so we can get this unbolted. There's really not much left in here. There's a little flapper valve inside that I'll show you. And then the bigger one, we're going to start with the smaller one first, and we'll go through that. This is about the only time I'm going to say you can use your electric gun to take it apart, but you will put it back together by hand. If you get them too tight, you will cause damage. You will warp the valve body itself, cause leaks. So let's start with the small one, then we'll go from there. Carefully take all the screws out. Luckily, this is a valve body that has Phillips. The earlier ones are straight blade, and they're a little bit harder to get apart. Just more of a pain in the butt to get your wrench or your blade in there to hold it. Okay. There's a little flapper valve, a little spring over a plate. Get this cleaned up. Since there is no gaskets on these mating surfaces, we want to make sure they are nice and flat. So you take your trusty little stone and you carefully flat sand it. Look for any high spots. Looking good there. Do the mating surfaces to the case. And we'll clean this one up. Don't want to remove any burrs or anything like that. Alright. Now I'll clean this up in my solvent, get it blown off, and then we'll put it together. Now that you've got it cleaned, we can put it together. I always use my valve body tray. Put the valve body plate on there. Remember, this had this little flapper, little vent. Make sure your spring's not damaged. Make sure you get it right in the hole. You'll be able to tell if it goes all the way down. Don't want to force anything ever. So you can see I don't have it quite down that way. We can do this the other way if you want. Make it a little easier. Maybe a little easier said than done. Put our screws in. And like I said, I'm going to put one just down so it touches. Like I said, you do not use a gun to put this together. Any kind of gun. Electric, air. I'll only do this by hand because with a screwdriver you cannot over tighten the valve body. If you do over tighten it, you will cause problems. I usually start from the middle and work out. Just one I had to hold it down. Yeah, as tight as I can get it with my hand, and that's it. Now I'll go side to side. Alright, that's done. What we'll do is we'll take the valves, okay, double check it, make sure they fit nice and snug and they go in fairly easy. Yep, nice. Drop down. We're good there. I'm going to take these out because I got to have them out when I bolt this down. And I'll set this off the side and we'll do our other valve bottom.